Welcome to the third edition of the Money Mailbag. This edition of the Money Mailbag is brought to you by Best Buy. No, no, it's not really brought to you by Best Buy. I was opening my email and there's a Best Buy ad sitting in the top right hand corner. So I just went with it. Although Best Buy, if you are listening, I would not be opposed to you sponsoring the next edition of the Money Mailbag. If you want to send me over an email at drmoney83 at AOL.com with all the particulars, I definitely would read it. For you listeners out there, that is also the email address for you to send in your questions for the next edition of the Money Mailbag. I would like to do one of these every Tuesday, but I got a little backed up this past Tuesday, and then some questions came in last night, so I guess everything worked out well for everybody. If you do not like to email, send them on over to my Facebook page or my FormSpring page. I'll answer them here. Okay, so we got some questions to answer, so let's get right into it. Let's start with FormSpring, since they're a little bit older. Okay, my Patriots fan from last time is back. He'd like to know my thoughts on Randy Moss being traded. He doesn't think much of Moss leaving, and I'd have to concur. Um, the New England Patriots really had, in their Super Bowl years, they didn't really operate with many superstars, especially on the offensive side, and they did not win a Super Bowl with Randy Moss. I believe that was because the unbeatable team was beaten by the New York Giants. Yes, yes, they were. Although Moss did catch what could have been the game-winning touchdown very late in that game, so you can't really say it was Moss's fault they lost that game. But the Patriots are a type of team where, they try to do a lot of nondescript players, especially on the offensive side. So I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. I think with all the draft picks they've been stockpiling, they're trying to make one more big run at it in the next 2 to 3 years. So I guess they're thinking long term while they could still possibly be a playoff team this year. So you don't think much of it. I don't think much of it. So let's move on. Okay, next question also from FormSpring. Says, what's the best and worst thing that Eric Bischoff brought to the wrestling industry? And let's give credit where credit is due. Eric Bischoff brought us the best and biggest angle in the history of professional wrestling, and that is the NWO. He did what nobody else did, and that was turn Hulk Hogan heel and created one of the biggest boom periods, if not the biggest boom period in the history of pro wrestling. Let's be honest. Without Eric Bischoff creating the NWO, there would have never been an Attitude Era in WWF because Vince McMahon would have not felt the need to be pushed, and he wouldn't have had to create the stars that he created to defeat WCW. So you got to give credit to Eric Bischoff where it's due. The NWO fostered D-Generation X and The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, like I said, that's all Eric Bischoff right there. The NWO created the boom in professional wrestling back in the late 90s. But with that being said, the worst thing Eric Bischoff ever did to the wrestling industry was kill WCW. After the NWO kind of lost its sizzle, he still relied on older guys that wanted a lot of money, and he didn't create new stars. And eventually, it ran out WCW. Think about it like this. In a baseball team, eventually these guys aren't able to play anymore and they retire. I mean, just think about in 10 years, are the Yankees still going to trot out a 50-year-old Derek Jeter and a 50-year-old Mariano Rivera and a 50-year-old Alex Rodriguez? No, they're going to replace them with younger players. That's what you needed to do in wrestling, and that's what Eric Bischoff didn't do. I think also giving creative control to a lot of the guys that he signed, like the Hogans and Nashes of the world, wasn't a smart thing, because you're going to book a feud between two guys that have creative control. Neither guy wants to put the other guy over. What are you supposed to do? And Vince McMahon picked the bones. Guys like Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho and Rey Mysterio and the Canadian guy that we're not supposed to remember, they were all underused in WCW, while the Stings, the Holes, the Nashes, the Hogans, the Savages, etc., etc., kept getting the main event spots. They left for WWE, and Vince turned them into world champions. So, or Eric is given credit for creating the NWO, he is also got to take the credit for killing WCW. So it's a double-edged sword there with Eric. Okay, next question is, do you think Brock Lesnar was supposed to be the poster boy of WWE instead of John Cena? This is a very interesting question, especially coming in after the column that I wrote on Monday for the John Report entitled Vipers Aren't Rattlesnakes. Commenter and former blogger here on the site, Feedback, said that I forgot to mention Brock Lesnar in my column because he was supposed to be the guy, according to Feedback. And you know what? I kind of have to agree with him. Brock Lesnar was dubbed the next big thing. He debuted in April. He was world champion in August. He was put over clean. I mean, he would beat The Rock clean for the championship at SummerSlam. He beat The Undertaker clean. He beat Kurt Angle clean in the main event of WrestleMania. And then he didn't like wrestling, so he left. So there's not really much you can do when a guy doesn't want to partake in the lifestyle of a pro wrestler. It's a very demanding lifestyle. These guys are on the road sometimes as much as 300 days a year. The guy didn't want to do that, so he left. Now he's the biggest draw in the UFC. His pay-per-views are a must-buy. I know that I will be watching his next fight next Saturday night, and it will likely mean that I won't be watching bragging rights. But Vince saw something in him. He was going to market him as that guy. I mean, you don't title a guy the next big thing and then have him waste away in the mid card. So it's not Vince's fault. The guy didn't like it and he left. But yes, I do think that Brock Lesnar could have been the new poster boy of the WWE. Might have. Who knows if he would have hit the heights of Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock? But I would guess that he would have, considering how successful he's been in mixed martial arts, that Vince would have pushed him to the moon, and, it is what it is, though, so it's all hypothetical, but yes, I do think he was supposed to be WWE's golden boy. Okay, that's enough for Form Spring, so let's check out the email questions. Okay, first email question comes from a huge fan of Goldust, and he wants to know my thoughts on the current angle Goldust is involved in. But he doesn't specify. Goldust is actually involved in two angles. The one where he's marrying his NXT rookie diva Oksana. I'll start there. I think it's stupid. WWE weddings are stupid. I think this one is going to continue the stupidity train on WWE weddings. And his other angles where he stole the $1 Million Championship from Ted DiBiase. I'm a little bit more optimistic with that one because I think it's good for a guy like Goldust to be working with a young guy like DiBiase, put him over. But the whole stealing of the $1 Million belt thing is stupid. The belt has no value, but whatever. You notice that Goldust has been getting a little bit of a push lately is because his biography's coming out, so WWE wants to sell that, so they're going to put the guy on TV. Okay. It's not 1996. Goldust's days are his better days are behind him, but he still has value on the WWE roster. Hopefully he can put over some young guys, help him improve in the ring. Remember, Sheamus's first feud was with Goldust, so. Okay, next email question is rumors 3D is back, going back to a singles run. How long do I see that lasting? Not very long, considering their singles run in WWE were terrible, although Bubba Ray Dudley did somehow manage to get himself a World Heavyweight Championship match with Triple H. They're not very good as singles wrestlers. They're tag team wrestlers, and even at that, their tag team days are near the end. They're at the end of their careers, so. Not very optimistic for a Team 3D singles run. Next email question. Out of all the EV2 guys, who am I impressed with? None of them. They're all past their prime. Although Tommy Dreamer does seem to be in the best ring shape. Although, Sabu, Raven, Stevie Richards. Bye. See you later. Just a waste of time, really, to be honest with you. I haven't seen anything from any of them that would make me want to see any more of them. I think Dreamer's got some value. He could stick around. He could still carry a decent match, especially when he's in there with the right opponent. But the rest of them, there's not much left there. Okay, let's load this up here. Final email question is, what are my thoughts on the Nexus and former Nexus members and how far each of them will go? Let's start with the former Nexus members. Darren Young, there's a reason why he was the first one bounced from Nexus. It's because he sucks. I'm surprised he still has a job. I heard WWE might try to repackage him as a babyface character. They should repackage him as an unemployed person because he has no future in the company. Tarver is got good mic work. Michael Tarver has good mic work, but he's got no in-ring skills. Now he's out with an injury. I'm surprised. I would be surprised if in the end that doesn't spell the end of his WWE career. I really don't see much for him, especially since mouthpieces / managers have gone the way of the dodo bird in the WWE. So I really don't see any future for him. You also got Skip Sheffield, who was out with an injury. He could have been a good power mid-card worker type guy. We'll see what happens with him with the injury. I would have liked to see the prospects of him and David Otunga tag team is where they were starting to go when the injury occurred. Speaking of Otunga, he's absolutely terrible in the ring. He's not very good on the mic either. He could have some stock as a bodyguard type. I think Vince will keep him around a little bit longer than some of the other guys because he's married to Jennifer Hudson. Although, really, how famous is she? You know, send me an angry email telling me she's really famous. I don't really care, to be honest with you. She was in a Sex and the City movie. She was in another movie. Who cares? But Vince does. She's famous, I guess. So maybe Otunga will be an Intercontinental U.S. champion. I don't know. Probably not. He should be somebody's bodyguard, is what he should be. But other than that, I don't really see much for him. Then we move to Heath Slater. Bland as bland can be. The guy's supposed to be a heel. He's about as intimidating as a French fry. Yes, that is a joke because he looks like the Wendy from the Wendy's restaurant. I really don't see much for him. Maybe he'll be a mid-card jobber. I don't know. Justin Gabriel is a guy I have high hopes for. As you see, WWE has. He was in a long match with Randy Orton. He's been given a lot of offense in his matches against Orton, against John Cena. He could, he could get a bigger push than Evan Bourne. He could be just below Rey Mysterio. He's got that type of in-ring work. I think after the Nexus angle is over, you turn him face. The fans will respond to him based on his offense. I think WWE has high hopes for him. I also have high hopes for him. I think he'll be a keeper. And obviously, the last one is Wade Barrett. I think he's the cream of the NXT Season 1 crop. He's already worked two pay-per-view main events. Although I don't think he'll actually be in the main event at bragging rights, but he's still working a singles WWE Championship match. So, WWE's put a rookie in 3 main events, so they have high hopes for him. I like his mic work. I didn't see the Hell in a Cell match, although I heard it came off pretty good, so that's promising for him. But outside of Gabriel and Barrett, there's really not much there, to be dead honest with you. Okay, that's going to wrap up this 3rd edition of the Money Mailbag. If you want to get your question in for the next edition, which I hope to record Tuesday, just send me an email, Formspring, or Facebook, and I'll answer them. Hopefully next time I do this, I can add the musical interlude that I wanted to do, but if not, it's just going to be my voice welcoming you to the Money Mailbag. And this is me saying goodbye. Until next time, this is Dr. Money. See ya.